a number of times when he had to be sidelined. But all in all, I think for me, I think it's not really a good thing. Even taking away the aspect of us having the Africa Cup of Nations within the next couple of weeks, just the aspect of uh, abiding by the rules and regulations that have been laid ahead of you in terms of how you have to conduct yourself at the club, because the club puts out certain rules that players have to abide in terms of the time probably that they have to report for training, or what they're supposed to do, and all that kind of a thing, how they have to relate, and all those kind of things that are put in place. And it's a very, very unfortunate situation. And like I said, we need some these players that have been called to the national team to be in tip-top form and to be at the level of concentration which is very much expected of them, and at the highest level. We don't want them to be disturbed and probably distracted by other things that could actually slow down their performances, and maybe even lead to them giving us maybe even up to 60, 70 or 80% of what we know they are capable of. Because in the tournament that we are going in, we need these players to be at their optimal. We need them to perform 100%, even an extra 10% from the 100 that we expect of them. Because when you are playing games against these bigger sides, even 100% sometimes may not even be good enough. So we want these players to be fully concentrated and focused on the football part of it, and not to find themselves in situation where they have to deal with other disciplinary issues, whether it could be at the club level, but all that also is an issue. Because what determines for you to be selected at the national team is how you conduct yourself at the club. It's not just about the performance on the pitch, even the behavioral part of it outside the pitch can be actually reported to the people or the technical bench that makes the selection to the national team, regarding on how you select and how you behave. And they may, based on that report that they get, they may determine whether to include or not include you in the national team. So for me, I think it's a very, very unfortunate situation, and I'm hoping that ultimately it's something that is not going to disturb the player going forward. But as it is, the players have been given a provisional suspension from the team, and it's a very, very unfortunate situation.
We're hoping for the best. I'm sure after this incident, what shall follow will be for the good of the player as well as the club. But no one wants such negatives to be happening with one of the players that you are hoping will make the final cut of the teams that will be going to Ivory Coast in a matter of weeks to go and represent Zambia in Ivory Coast. All the best, Triple C, Cletus Chota Chama at Simba FC. Talking of the Africa Cup of Nations, it's not only the national team that will be going. Diana Chikotesh has been selected for duty in Ivory Coast.
Yeah, she actually has been selected to perform duties at the Africa Cup of Nations. She's one of those referees that have been around for some time. She has handled matches at the COSAFA tournament and all that. She's been around for some time. I think she's one of the top officials that we have in terms of refereeing, and she's really been doing a very good job. And CAF have actually seen and noted what she has been doing, and she's actually been selected to be one of the officials that are going to be doing the officiating at the Africa Cup of Nations. So all we say is kudos and wishing her very well, and congratulations to her for having been appointed as one of the top officials on the African continent to go and represent Zambia. Not only represent Zambia, but to actually go and officiate at the matches. And many times we know we have had Janice Kazwe as the leading referee, but he's no longer active. He's not practicing refereeing now, as we may be aware.
He's
He retired.
Yeah.
He retired. So there are other officials that have taken the mantle now, and they are doing a pretty good job. And for Diana Chikotesha, we say once again, congratulations to her.
Hope she can officiate one of Zambia's games.
No, that can never happen.
No wonder it's just a wish.
Yeah.
We're looking forward to seeing Diana at the AFCON in Ivory Coast. The Africa Cup of Nations kicks off on the 13th of January 2023.
Actually, there are just two female referees that have been selected from the list of the 28 assistant referees that will be on hand to officiate in the matches that have attracted 26 referees. There's only another female referee official, is the Cameroonian Karine Atezambong, the Cameroonian. So Diana alongside Karine are the only two female officials that have been selected to go and officiate in the matches that are going to be taking place in Ivory Coast.
We wish them all the best. And the Africa Cup that kicks off on the 13th of January 2023, we'll see the Zambian Super League going on recess during the duration of the AFCON. So after week 20, then the Zambian League will go on recess so as to allow people to follow the Africa Cup of Nations keenly, with Zambia participating after such a long time.
Oh yeah, because initially the league, Zambian Premier League was scheduled to go on recess after this weekend. That is because this weekend is when we are reaching the midpoint of the season. That is week 17, because as we may be aware, the league, there are 34 games that are played in the Zambian Super League. As we know, there are 18 teams in the league, so 34 games that are played, and week 17 is the halfway mark. But as it is, because of the Africa Cup of Nations, it has been decided that the players will need to be fully focused in terms of maybe just having a respite away from playing the beautiful game, and concentrate on watching, because they also would not want to miss out on the action in terms of seeing exactly what is going to be happening and what is going to be going on at the Africa Cup of Nations and all that kind of thing. So for me, I think it's a very, very good situation, because we, even us, the fans, we wouldn't want to have been divided in terms of do I go to Nkoloma when Zambia is playing at 15 hours in Ivory Coast in the Africa Cup of Nations?
You can be watching on your phone.
Oh, come on. So I would rather be watching the game on TV and just be flipping channels from Zambia, Ivory Coast, Zambia, Morocco to Ivory Coast, Cameroon, or whatever match is going to be played simultaneously with the other match that would be of interest with me. So I think for me, it's a very, very good situation. And as it is for now, week 17 this weekend. So the next 3 weeks, we're still going to be having the games that are going to be played up to week 20. And thereafter, as the Africa Cup of Nations begins, that's when the league will actually go on recess.
Senior Skype Xavier Manchishi has finally joined us after negotiating his way through the festive season traffic jam. Welcome aboard.
Thank you. Good morning, guys, and good morning to our listeners.
How's been your week? Busy with preparations for Christmas?
Oh, yes. Everywhere you look, it's Christmas. You go to the shopping malls, it's all Christmas. So there's no running away from the festive mood. Everywhere they're trying to remind you. And the traffic, like you said, There's so much traffic in town today. I think the Christmas period is well and truly with us.
You went to buy chickens from Chivolia, I'm told. Very nice village chicken from Chivolia.
The usual, because we grew up knowing that on Christmas Day we had to eat chicken and some rice and wear new clothes. So the tradition has not really escaped us. We still want to do the same and impart it in our children as well. Everybody wants to eat chicken, everybody wants to eat some rice, everybody wants to be in new clothes. And here we are, even with football now, most of the people follow the EPL. The EPL has back-to-back fixtures during this festive period. So I think it's a festive period that saves entertainment across the board. Everybody gets to enjoy something.
Talking of entertainment, well, not so much out of Uzakire and Kitwe, where Mopani has dissolved the Nkana Executive Committee and some subcommittees, which include the Match Organizing Committee as well as the Nkana Security Wing.
I think the at Nkana has been a long time coming. Looking at the performances of the team, looking at everything that has been happening around them, I think this decision that has been taken, I don't know if it's good or bad, but it's a belated decision in a way, because I think from the start of the season, Nkana has been limping. They haven't been getting points on the pitch. Off the pitch, you take it that there are a lot of things that have happened as regards their playing their home matches away from home for the bulk of the first round of the season. They've been playing at Woodland Stadium, and there's always the 12th man to support the players, and kind of playing their home matches, notwithstanding the fact that they have the largest following in the local league, and even when they were playing their home matches away from home, they still attracted a decent crowd, probably again the biggest crowd in the league. But you would understand that the issue of playing away from home must have had a psychological effect on the players. So what I would want to understand is how this kind of a decision was arrived at. Was there a meeting of some sort where probably the executive felt that the KPIs they were given at the start of the season, and looking at where the club is going at the midway point of the season, someone might have felt that they haven't done what they were asked to do. And then who's the fall guy in this whole thing? Is it the players on the pitch? Is it the executive? Remember that the issue of the coach, at the beginning of the season, they let go of their coach Beston Chambeshi. And there's a sentimental attachment to a coach like Beston Chambeshi, who played for Nkana, coached Nkana in hard times and good times, helped them to the league titles that they are famed for, and then they had to dispense of him, I think 2 or 3 games into the new season. And at that point, already people were pointing fingers at the fact that the experience that Beston brings to the table, and he was replaced by what can be considered as a rookie coach in form of Ian Bakala. Both in age and experience, I think Ian Bakala, with due respect, is a few years behind Coach Beston Chambeshi in terms of what he has achieved so far.
Age ain't nothing but a number. He's
Exactly.
already won the Absa Cup.
Oh yes, now I'm talking about Nkana. He's won the Absa Cup, not with Nkana.
Of
Beston
course.
Chambeshi has won titles with Nkana. So I'm looking at how painful the decision must have been to let go of Beston Chambeshi and then bring in an upcoming coach. That's why I said, with due respect to Ian Bakala, they gave him very big shoes to fit in. And I think what he has done, on any other day, you would say he's on a trajectory that you would think that the coaching, the executive is still confident that he will steer the ship. But then at Nkana, losing is not part of their DNA. That's a very big club where even just going 2 matches without a win, people would have already pressed the panic button. At Nkana, actually, there's the soccer fans themselves, they contribute to some of the decisions. When the fans in the stadium at the Chilata, they are indicating that a player who's not doing so well, they start indicating that player should be replaced. A Nkana coach who has his place in the Nkana folklore would understand that you have to replace that player, because if that player makes another costly mistake, the blood is on the coach who has not made changes.
Now, what is the connection between the Nkana Security Wing and the performance of the team? Why dissolve them as well? What have they done?
Yes, that is where I was going to head to now. In terms of the executives that have been disbanded. I think during the period when Nkana has been playing away from home at Woodland Stadium, there are a lot of things that have been exposed. Among them, it's the behavior of the spectators. And the security wing, I think, had a hard time to contain some of the things that happen within the spectators in the stands. I remember one time it was the issue of the media officer from Kwazi who was roughed up, the assistant coach for NAPSA Stars, Chizengu, was also roughed up. And
allegedly roughed up.
I witnessed it. He was roughed up.
Where is the evidence?
I have it. I have video evidence.
No, you can manipulate a video.
Everybody, it was there for all to see what happened. But kudos to the security wings. I think they contended the situation very well. They got exposed. The security wing was exposed by the things that were happening in the stands. And now I think it's an issue of having to make drastic decisions. To the extent that they are going to remove the security wing, I don't know how that has an impact over the fortunes changing at Nkana Stadium. I think the security wing has been used as a scapegoat in this matter. I may be wrong. This is just an opinion. But I think they should have done something to do with the performance on the pitch. And the security wing has nothing to do with that. I think that decision was made. Maybe I would put my head on the chopping board and say they made it emotionally to remove the security executive. What they could have dealt with is a performance on the pitch, and I understand the executive is directly involved. What I also don't understand is why the sponsor is too involved in the day-to-day running of the team. I think the sponsor should be at a distance, then bring in some people who will be in charge, like the director.
He who pays calls the tune.
He who pays with the piper calls the tune. But even when you're calling the tune, there should be someone to select the tune for you. So I think in this case, the sponsor can dangle the money, then let other people run the football side of things. If they're going to dangle the money and also be the ones to be monitoring where the money is going and how it's being spent, in the end, the sponsor will start appointing the coach, the sponsor will start sitting on the bench. Football is not run like that. I think there's a lot that is wrong at Nkana at the moment. Firing dissolving the executive, especially the security executive, the security wing, I don't think that will have an impact on the playing side of things.
Yeah, but again, if you look at Nkana, I think the decision that was made, I think in terms of replacing the executive, yeah, I think it just had to be an overhaul, really. Like Xavier said, I think it was a very, very belated decision because, like has been said, Nkana losing like 2 consecutive games is not really what Nkana is all about. We know they are record champions of the Zambian Super League. They've been here and there. They've played continental football. We saw years back when Modon Malitole missed that penalty at Independence Stadium. Was it against JS Kabylie of Algeria? And they are the biggest team without a shadow of doubt, really. But I think the time that they went that 8 games at the start of this season, because even last season the start was really bad. They were hovering just around the relegation standings until later on when their fortunes improved a little bit, and then that's when they got out of the relegation waters and they were mid-table and almost threatening to get into the top 5 somewhere about there, until again form really went down. So we thought the way they ended last season on a very good note is the way that they were going to have started. And with the experience of based on Chambesh, I think they did not start as they were expected to have started. But for me, you cannot go 8 games out of a possible 24 points. You only get 3 points. For me, that was a very, very, is it okay to say it, very, very pathetic.
It's also okay to move on from this issue. I think we've belabored the point. There's more to football than Nkana.
Yeah, definitely there is more to football, but apart from Nkana. But all in all, 8 games with 3 draws and 5 losses. A decision should have been made there. Now we have seen the coach has been replaced. There's Ian Bakala. The executive has been replaced. And this is week 17. There's another 17. After today's game, there's another 17 games to be played. is the team going to be more of transformed and come in a different mode come the second half of the season? I think as at week 17, Nkana probably should be feeling like Faz has not even done them a very good service, or the Africa Cup of Nations has not even done them a service, because Nkana really needed this break. They really needed this break, and now for them to go back to the drawing board with a new executive and the coach who has not been there long enough to just sit down, make identify players who they feel are going to improve the team and re-strategize and work around on how many points that they feel they should get in this next 17 games to make sure that they get themselves out of the situation where they are. Because if the coach has been dismissed, that is based on championship, the executive has been dismissed, the next thing we expect is the players to be dismissed. So all in all, I think Nkana needed a break now. It's unfortunate that the break has been deferred until after the next 3 games, after today's games. That's when the break is going to come, when after week 20, which means that there's only going to be 14 games in which Nkana will need to turn things around. Even when that break comes, Nkana will be busy watching the Africa Cup of Nations. So I don't know how much time they'll have in terms of reorganizing. They are a big club. Come on.
Well, I think when we say that there's more to football, Nkana, we really need to emphasize the point that even if we throw in some superstition that the football gods are not happy, seeing Nkana second bottom on the log, seeing Nkana not having a single player in the 55-man squad that has been announced to go to the Africa Cup, I think there's something that needs to be done, really. And the concern now goes beyond just the Nkana faithful. Even the teams that have gone to play Nkana and collected maximum points, I don't think they still feel the excitement of having that 3 points off Nkana. It's like it's a routine now to go to Nkana and beat them. It ceases to be fun anymore.
Have you finished? I want to move on to
even Warriors that have been on a losing streak of 5 games and 1 draw from the last 6 games. Last weekend went to Nkana and collected maximum points.
Is that all?
He doesn't want to be the one to say the Nkana topic is. He wants the 2 of us to decide on our own that we are done.
We can move on.
Give me a signal, please.
Yeah, we can move on.
This football time on 5FM and Muchinga Radio in Chinsali. Before we look at the Zambian Super League that has entered week 17 this weekend, and there was one fixture yesterday between Red Arrows and Mutondo Stars. Let's just read some messages that have come in via the 5FM Facebook page. John P. Pondala writes and says, good morning to you, DJ Dazo, Mr. Kalap, and Mr. Xavier. Watching you live from Chipata compound, let me express my happiness for having this good program consistently now.
Yeah, we actually listened. We are listening.
But no sooner.
No sooner you said that.
Next week we are not here.
At least we have the decency of announcing before.
Yeah.
So that he doesn't go sifting through the channels to look for us. Would have warned him in advance that.
So John, please know that next Saturday we won't be here. Yeah. My 2 guests have got engagements outside the town, so they won't be able to be on the program next Saturday. So we just want to let you know in advance that your favorite program won't be there next Saturday. So no sooner had you commended us than
you have to actually put in an apology for the inconvenience that will cause him next.
Yeah, we are sorry, John. We won't be here next Saturday due to circumstances beyond our control, but we'll be back the Saturday after next, which will be in the brand new year. Yeah, we'll be back in 2024. Yeah. The first week, Saturday of 2024 will be here. Now, he says, Mr. Dazo looking great in that Arsenal jersey, but I hope the cape represents Nkana Football Club. It's
also Arsenal.
The red, the color represents Nkana. So
no, it's still also Arsenal.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I thought it's Nkana. Mula Mova writes, good morning, panel. It's unfortunate and sad to see Triple C at this point of his career finding himself in such issues when he should be one of the players leading by example and setting young players on the right path, both on and off the pitch. I wouldn't be surprised if the coach dropped him from the final squad because discipline is a key pillar of any team.
I totally agree with that contribution. I think Triple C is now one of the senior most members of the squad, and we don't want to hear such issues. I think we're already grappling with issues where some of the players that have been summoned to the 55-member squad are not getting regular game time at their clubs, and Triple C is one of the few that command a starting place in his club. And to get to a point where one of the senior most members of the squad gets involved in shenanigans off the pitch, it's really unfortunate, even if at this point it's an allegation. But you don't want to be associated with such things off the pitch. We're going into a very important tournament, like Mambo was trying to buttress. Very important tournament, and we don't want players to attract attention to themselves for all the wrong reasons. I think we want to have players at 100% in terms of preparations and also 100% in terms of output. I think the Africa Cup is all about patriotism. When you've been called to the national team, it's patriotism. And when you've been called to represent a national team, to wear the national team jersey, you want to be there and excel. But if you can go into a battle with so many things talked around away from football, it's just a distraction that we don't need at the moment.
There's that song by Ephraim. To fear. He's only human.
Exactly. That's why we're saying it shouldn't be him all the time. Why him always?
Why always?
And I think the key word there that was said, or the key words that were said, was that he is one of the senior players now. Look at how much longer he's been around. He's really been around from Zesco United. Remember last time he went to the Saka Dynamos, to Simba. He had even gone to Egypt at some point. Was it Egypt? Yeah, came back to Simba. So in terms of being an example, really, I think he should be one of those players that should be setting an example. Because one thing that I had even observed with Triple C, I liked his attitude. Many of the games he would not even see game time, not even for a minute, when Zambia is playing, except for the recent the last two encounters against Niger and Congo Brazzaville. He would not even see action. But when Zambia scores, you'd see how happy he would be, running from the touchline to go and celebrate with the players on the pitch and the goal scorers. You know, just that commitment. Even the one of the most experienced players, just that contribution of just feeling that even if I'm not on the pitch, I'm part of the team. You know, you could see that from Triple C, and you could see that this team is this group of players is more of a team, because everybody, even if they are on the bench, like the players, an example of Cletus Chotashama, who's very experienced, he's on the bench. The likes of Lubambo Msonda, who found him there, the likes of Lamek Banda, who found him already part of the team, are playing, but he's on the bench. But when Zambia scores, he'll run to Lamek to go and celebrate with the young player, despite him being on the bench, to show that he's part of the team, and he actually work with the team and do everything that is expected of him as member of the team, despite him not being on the playing field. So all in all, it's an unfortunate situation.
Events off the pitch by Triple C. Let's now get to the pitch and look at what transpired yesterday. Red Arrows were in action against Mutondo Stars, kicking off the Christmas fixtures of the Zambian Super League. Red Arrows 3, Mutondo Stars 1.
Oh, this is a game that I thought, there goes the result again. I thought Mutondo Stars was going to make it 4 wins on the trot. Remember, after having beaten Kansanshi 2-0, beating Cabo Warriors 2-0, and beating Zanaco 1-0, 3 games, and actually we more if you can include the scoreless draw against Green Buffaloes, you can say 4 games that Mutondo Stars had played before yesterday without conceding a goal. And when they scored first, you would have feared for Red Arrows to say, "Oh, there comes the giant killer again." When Kampamba Chisha scored for Mutondo Stars in the 12th minute. As early as the 12th minute, you thought Red Arrows were not going to give a response, more so that Red Arrows coming back from a result which was not very pleasant for them. Remember when they played at home, they lost last week against Green Eagles, 2-1, and they conceded first again this time around. But they had to rally back and scored through Yusuf Saddam and Ricky Banda just in the first half to make sure that they go to the second half with a lead. And in the second half, they just tried to hold on, and eventually, with just about 10 minutes before the end of the match, they scored what just seemed like an icing on the cake by Chipanuka. Like I said, 10 minutes before the end of the game, and ultimately they got the maximum 3 points, and what a very, very good result for Red Arrows. That's what you expect from a team in terms of bouncing back after having had a disappointing weekend last time around. But this time around, with the likes of Alassana Diarra in the side, Yusuf Saddam, Ricky Banda, who was a very, very good scorer last time around when Red Arrows won the league, hoping that he's getting back to that form, being on the score sheet. But it was a very, very good result for the Chisimbewe coached side.
Yes, I think, like you said, when I was watching that game, I saw that Mutondo scored first, and we were all thinking that Red Arrows, their slumping form is hitting the lowest step now. They're going to lose the second match on the trot at home, but they bounced back to get the required result. And for Mutondo Stars, I think 4 or 5 games ago, we were already saying maybe their bubble was best. Remember that run they started after defeating Kana in, I think, the 4th or 5th week of the season. They went on a 4 or 5 matches winless streak, and it looked like their bubble had been best. But then they came back and chopped up a few good results. Now, when you look at the mini table of the clubs that won promotion from the championship last season, Mutondo is the one that is doing so well after the slumping form of Mtwara Wanderers. But I think Mutondo won't be too disappointed to have lost that match. Red Arrows in the end looked like they wanted to win more than their guests, and the result told in the end. I think also the experience and the fact that Mutondo had gone on a 4 matches winning streak. They were going to get the 4th yesterday, but then Red Arrows had other ideas because they had also tested being on top of the pile, and usually history always smiles on the teams that are top of the table on Christmas Day. Red Arrows could have been pushing for that, but even before the match, we knew that no matter how many goals they scored past Mutondo, they were still not going to supplant Zesco United on top of the table. But good for the Airmen to have ended that run of form where they were not winning matches. I think it will be a boost going into the remainder of the festive season matches before the mid-season break. And we also have to say that with the win yesterday, Red Arrows has actually qualified for the ABSA Cup.
Sorry, Xavier. Can you start from the top? I don't know. I had not pushed your knob for.
Oh, my mic was down.
Yeah, for your mic. Your mic was down. So it's only Mambo and I that were hearing you in the studio.
It's also very difficult for me to recollect my thoughts. But anyway, the gist of what I was saying was that there was a point. Mutondo Stars looked like they had lost steam. The steam they had started after defeating Kana in week 4 or 5 of the league, when they looked like the team to beat from the 4 that qualified from the championship. Then midway through the first round, they slumped to 4 defeats in a row, and they looked like their bubble has burst. But they've chalked up results. Even yesterday, when they scored first, it looked like they were going to hand Red Arrows another defeat at home. But Red Arrows, using their experience, they came back in that match and managed to win. So I was saying that for Red Arrows, who had tasted being on top of the table, they might have been looking at wanting to be on top of the table by Christmas Day. Although yesterday we already knew that even if they had won by a bagful of goals, they were still not going to supplant Zesco United. But it's good for them that they've won, and going into the remainder of the festive period, they would only want to collect more points. And I was also emphasizing that with the win yesterday, this Red Arrows has qualified for the ABSA Cup, regardless of the results this afternoon.
All right. The nation has heard now. That game was played yesterday. Before we look at the rest of the fixtures, we have some messages received via the 5FM Facebook page. Nicholas Bravo Lubambo says, good morning, DJ Dazo, Mr. Mambo. The Arsenal aficionado. Xavier, what's that?
That's some Latin.
All right. And Xavier, it's good watching you from within Lusaka, Kalingalinga, to be specific. It's always great to listen to you guys, Muninshimbi, but I can't wait to see the elephant falling from the top tree. Which elephant?
We know who you are.
Yeah.
We know you.
Then the other message is from Chaku Banda. Morning, DJ Dazo, Mambo, and Xavier Manchishi. I think Zambia will be knocked out in the first round of the AFCON. Please play me Tekwesha by Wisdom Destroyer Nkanda. It's a dedication to our early exit at AFCON 2024 and to Arsenal, who will be beaten 7-0 by Liverpool tomorrow. It's actually today. It's the last game today, Saturday.
Yeah,
Are you agreeing with him that it's today Arsenal will be beaten 7-0?
No, but he's entitled to his opinion. But it can be, yes, Arsenal can be beaten, but not 7.
Why not 7?
No, they are not Manchester
But
United.
first of all, why is Chakumanda being so much of a pessimist in terms, even for Zambia, like they'll be knocked out in the first round and no optimism whatsoever? You don't believe in how our boys have
It's actually
performed?
Chakumandwa.
Chakumandwa.
I think Chakumandwa, yes, because there's a
Chakumandwa
W after the D.
Chakumandwa band.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, because Zambia really played some very good football during the qualifiers. I think for me, the only blemish really on the recent performance for Zambia was the game against Niger in Morocco. And I think for me, I attribute that to the whole setup of the team, more so with the injuries that we had on Frankie Musonda and Kelvin Kapumbu in the holding midfield role. So, in terms of the team, look at Lamek Banda in inspired form, playing very well for Lecce. They are playing this afternoon against Inter Milan. Look at Fashion Sakala. They've qualified, is it to the quarterfinals of the last 16 of the Champions League, the Asian Champions League? He's playing some very good football. Person Daka is having game time again and scoring goals for club. He was scoring, yes, for Zambia, but he's now even scoring for country. And this afternoon, Leicester City will be playing against Rotherham. Look at Frankie Msonda back after injury, playing for Aya in the championship, in the Scottish Championship League. And Lubambo Msonda, yes, the league is on recess, but Asukebog just beat FC Copenhagen. Copenhagen, who have qualified to the last 16 of the Champions League ahead of Manchester United. In short, our players are having game time and our players are looking to be in a very good form. So they are hungry. They have missed the last 3 Africa Cup of Nations and they are very much eager to go and perform. And for me, I expect that they are going to give us the very best. And I don't see us getting knocked out in the first round.
Francis Nyanguru says, good morning, Dazo, Mambo and the senior Skype. Thanks, you're back. It's sad to see Nkana going through these bad moments. Force majeure.
It's a force majeure.
We got that even last week.
Zanaco trading tackles with Ankana this weekend.
Ordinarily, this should be the biggest game of the weekend, but look where Nkana finds themselves. They find themselves second bottom from the table, so it takes away a lot from this fixture. But Nkana being who they are, and the spectators, the Nkana supporters I mentioned before, they still make this fixture very interesting. There's also the part that it's a double header. This is the climax of the double header after Green Buffaloes plays Trident. I think that this is a fixture to look forward to this afternoon. Nkana, we said already that they lost last weekend to Cow Warriors in that match back at Nkana Stadium. It was actually the second match at Nkana Stadium after that lengthy ban that Nkana had suffered. You would feel that this is a fixture that Nkana will start with an edge over Zanaco. But when you look back again at how Zanaco themselves has performed, they are coming back from the 1-0 loss to Mtondo last weekend. While Nkana was losing to Cabo Warriors, Zanaco was also losing to Mtondo. Both sides will get into this match wanting to correct the wrongs of last weekend. And both coaches of the two sides are not new to this fixture. Coach Wetson Nyirenda, I think he has played Nkana from different dugouts before. He's played Nkana from the Zesco dugout, from the Buffaloes dugout, and he knows what Nkana brings to the table.
Is he back?
Yes, he is back. The CAF training he went for has a short period of time as residential, then they get back home, and then it's segmented. So he is back in the country. Then after some time, he'll get back to continue with the program. So I think maybe the amount of time he's had with the technical bench, he may not want to sit on the bench, but he'll still oversee whatever is out. And looking at the head-to-head of these two sides, you would say that Zanaco has an edge over Nkana because the last fixture, in the corresponding fixture, Zanaco beat Nkana 3-2 last season, but Nkana also claimed a home win 2-1 over Zanaco. And I think Coach Wetson Nyirenda will still be asking more questions about his trump cards. Abraham Siankombo, for instance, he has contributed a few goals here and there, but his caliber, I think you'd expect him to add more goals, more than what he has shown so far. Players like Brian Mwila, who after scoring that hat-trick, he even earned himself a call-up to the national team. He was on the bench when Zambia played those two matches between against Congo Brazzaville and Niger. But he needs to replicate that form that saw him score a hat-trick. I think Wetson Nyirenda has had faith in Brian Mwila, but he really hasn't replicated that kind of form. For Nkana, I think they've done everything there is to be done on the pitch, but the results haven't been going their way. We've seen players who've contributed goals for them. It hasn't really been rosy for Nkana all along, but they've still managed to score a few goals. They have the issue of their talisman, Mkonkole Kavala, who's being courted by some clubs abroad, and we are told that he's out of the country to tie up that transfer.
He went to vote. He should be coming back.
We heard that he's trying to tie up a transfer in Sweden, so he needed to do documentation back home in DRC. But even before he left, I think his contribution in front of goal had waned, contributing to Nkana not getting as many points as they would love to have. And we've already said the problems Nkana has this season can be confirmed by the fact that this is a team that is languishing second from bottom on the table, and they're only above Trident, a team that has not won a match this season. The difference between Nkana and Trident is only 3 points, and both of them have scored 10 goals. Under normal circumstances, you wouldn't be mentioning Nkana with the relegation zone in any conversations, because this is a team that has a reputation. This is a team that has hit dizzying heights, and I think by their high standards, things have to change at Nkana, and maybe the change in the executive, whatever the changes that have been made, we should begin to see the results starting with the match this afternoon.
Who is winning?
I'll place it on a draw.
Green Buffaloes will battle Trident.
Well,
Green Buffaloes against Trident. This one is expected to be an exciting affair. Green Buffaloes have been in very, very poor form. Both sides have not won a game in the last 5 games, but for Trident, they have not won a game the whole season. Even if you take away the last 5 games, they have been more of draw specialists until last weekend when Zesco United.
Sorry, I hear Siankombo is no longer at Zanaco?
Siankombo is at Zesco United, actually.
My apologies.
Yeah, he's at Zesco United.
That's Francis Nyanguru with a keen eye to the ground. Force majeure.
Paying attention to detail. Thanks, Francis, for the correction.
Yeah, he's actually at Zesco United, where he's applying his trade and it's doing his bit. But getting back to the Buffaloes and Trident and Green Buffaloes are a side that have been really in different kind of form. Last weekend they were beaten 2-0 by Forest Rangers. The other weekend they could only manage a 1-0 draw at home against Moza. That was after they had lost at Tunkana. That other weekend 2-1. So Green Buffaloes are a side that have not really shown some sort of consistency, but the only consistency that they have shown is not picking up maximum points. They've really been very, very poor, and by the standard of what we expect of Green Buffaloes and the Masao Sotembo tutored side, we really expect a lot from them. Considering the whole setup at Green Buffaloes and how they've been performing in the recent past. But at this time around, Green Buffaloes are really out of sorts. They're just about 4 points. Is it 3 points? No. Because Kansanshi Dynamos are on 16 points and Green Buffaloes are on 17 points. So it's just 1 point that separates Green Buffaloes and the relegation place. So it's really been a very, very poor season so far for Green Buffaloes. And if you look at the return in terms of their prowess in front of goal, they have scored only 13 goals in the 16 games that have been played, and have conceded 19, which is a very, very poor return by any standards, and an average of less than 1 goal per game. They are not an entertaining team to watch in terms of the goals that we are going to expect to be scored at the stadium when Green Buffaloes is involved. They are not more of a Green Buffaloes that we saw last season. Even when you look at the form table from the last 5 games, Green Buffaloes are actually lying bottom of the table, having scored just 3 goals from their last 5 games and conceding 9, collecting just 2 points from the last 5 games. That's a very, very poor return by the standard of Green Buffaloes. But one thing for sure is that I think playing against a side like Trident, who have yet to win a game this season, and being a promoted side, I think Green Buffaloes should see this fixture as a turnaround fixture. They should start correcting things. But even Trident, not taking anything away from them, they also look at Green Buffalo to say, this has been a poor side. From the last 5 games, they are the team that are sitting on the bottom of the table. So if the season kicked off 5 games ago, Green Buffaloes would be in relegation troubles, and Trident would be playing against a team that is bottom of the table. So Trident definitely will feel that playing against Green Buffaloes, it's a side that they can beat. Most of the results that they have been collecting in the recent past, save for the result last weekend against table toppers as Zesco United. But all in all, this is expected to be an affair that is that should see one of the teams taking a serious initiative in trying to get a result. And if one team scores early, would surely want to see a reaction from another team that is going to concede, and maybe, just maybe, we may have a very good spectacle for a curtain riser of Ankana and Zanaco.
The battle of the men in uniform, Green Eagles lacing up with Ankwazi Xavier.
This should be an interesting fixture as well. Green Eagles has been doing so well. They've gone 5 games without losing a match. Their only blemish was a draw. Ankwazi too, they've been high flying this season. I think for some time they even were top of the table. Now they are third on the table with 27 points. Green Eagles is just a point behind them. What is important for Ankwazi is to understand that Green Eagles, they're a team that doesn't love losing at home. most of the matches that Green Eagles has played at home, they don't want to lose. And this afternoon they'll be happier to even beat Nkwazi, considering that they come confident after having beaten Red Arrows away from home in another battle of security teams. They beat Red Arrows 2-1 at Nkoloma Stadium. Before that, it was another battle of security teams. They beat Prison Leopards 4-0 at home. And generally, they've done so at home, although they lost to Cabo Warriors 4 fixtures ago. But I think from the time that the Green Eagles coach was given an ultimatum to do something to change the fortunes of the club, or he would face a sack, the ship has steadied at Green Eagles. They were languishing just above the relegation zone, but now they find themselves within touching distance of the ABSA qualification. And it's interesting to see the contributions in terms of goals for Green Eagles. They've had defenders like Amit Chamende contributing a goal, Silwimba contributing a goal. The Prince of Choma is back from Zesco United. I think that Green Eagles will start as favorites in this match, but you can't underestimate Nkwazi, who have also gone through a rough patch. Apart from beating Prison Leopards last weekend, they had lost to Napsa Stars. They drew against Mufulira Wanderers in Mufulira. They drew against Trident, having beaten Forest Rangers 4 matches ago. I think when they travel to Choma this afternoon, they will be thinking that this is a point where they can get maximum points and also cement their position on the table so that they qualify for the ABSA Cup. Green Eagles are currently number 5. With a win today, they could sneak past Nkwazi and break into the top 4, qualify for the ABSA Cup. I think that, in all fairness, this fixture too will end in a scoring draw.
This is Football Time on 5FM and Muchinga Radio in Chinsali. The program continues shortly.
Good news. Mama Mwewe's Kitchen is now open at Machinchi Gardens. Come and enjoy all Zambian traditional meals like nshima with vinkubala, visashi, village chicken, game meat, pampa, chibwabwa, popwe, and even mitikili. Other services we provide include events and catering. We are situated behind Mandahil at Machinchi Garden. For orders, do contact us on 0977 847281 or 0975419560. Mama Mwewe's Kitchen, serving all Zambian traditional meals.
You're still listening to Football Time on 5FM and Muchinga Radio in Chinsali, our partner radio station for this program. We're also streaming live on the 5FM Facebook page and YouTube channel, 5FM Radio Zambia. We are looking at the games that are coming up in the Zambian Super League that has entered week 17 this weekend. Sharp Konkola Blades will hope to get the better of Prison Leopards when the two face off this afternoon.
Well, definitely so. Konkola Blades, I think they have also adopted the tag of if you cannot win it, don't lose it. The last 5 games have been very, very rewarding for Konkola Blades, considering their stature and more so that they are just a promoted side. They have not lost the game. They have drawn 4 and won 1, which is a very good return by their standard. 7 points out of a possible 15. Not very bad. It's actually a pass. 40 plus percent should it still be considered a pass?
It's a bare pass.
A bare pass, whatever. As long as it's a pass, anyway, for them. And like I said, they're a promoted side, and they've been a very, very good team at the place they call the Akabwendo for themselves. That is at Konkola Stadium, playing against Prison Leopards. This is a Prison Leopards side that was beaten by Nkwazi last weekend at Godfrey Yukashitalu Stadium in Kabwe. 1-0. Going to go and play Konkola Blades, the best on Chambeshi coached side. I think it's going to be a very, very tough fixture for Prison Leopards. The likes of Young Sekanji Siame for Konkola Blades should come to the ford. as young as he is, but he's one of those players that have really been a shining light for Konkola Braids. And then you also have the likes of Francis Muvanga, Christian Mpoi, as well as Kelly Kayembe, Crispin Kawenzia. These are good players for Konkola Blades that have really done a very, very good job under Beston Chambeshe. And for me, I think a narrow win for Konkola Blades, most of that they are playing at home. And so far from the last 5 games, they've proved that they can be very, very stubborn to be beaten. And with the way Prison Leopards have been playing recently, I don't think you could see anything other than at least a minimum of a point picked by Konkola Blades in this one. If Prison Leopards picks up a point, I think it will just be a bonus, because the last 3 games for Prison Leopards, they've not been scoring. And that's a very, very worrying situation. If you cannot score, you cannot win. The best you are going to expect is that your defense is going to be resolute and just expel all the attack forces that are going to be thrown at them, and just make sure that they are at their very best and do not concede a goal. But the moment you just concede 1 goal, like it was against Napsa Stars and against Inquaz, they conceded 1 goal because their strikers were not able to score. They lost the matches, apart from the other game which they lost 4-0 against Green Eagles. So for me, I think I see Konkola Blades as the better side, and the side that is likely to get more of something out of this match.
Defending champions, Powerful Power Dynamos, will tackle Napsa Stars.
Yeah, the defending champions, I think they seem to be finding form at the right time. They struggled in the earlier stages of the season, but now they have pushed up on the table. They are number 6. If they get a win today, they'll break into they're already in the Absa Cup places, but they'll move closer to the top. And I think it's always the issue of trying to beat your own record. Last season, they were doing so well, Power Dynamos. They had the free scoring Andy Boeli getting goals for fun, but this season it hasn't really worked for him. And they really need to get more goals so that they defend their title. But it's always very difficult to beat your own record, like I said. Last weekend, they did so well, Power Dynamos. They got that 3-1 win over Mufulira Wanderers at Shinde Stadium. Godfrey Ngwenya was among the goals. I'm impressed, actually, with the way the defenders are contributing goals in the season, in the league this season. I think it's very important that goals are shared around. Even when Andy Boeli hasn't been doing so well, I think other players have contributed with goals. It has helped to push Power Dynamos although they're still in mid-table, I think they can only improve. Today they play an Napsa Stars side, which themselves things haven't been so well for them. But in the last 3 matches, they've beaten Kwazi 2-0. They've also beaten Prison Leopards. Before that, they had lost to Mufulira Wanderers and to Green Eagles. I think that the coaching bench at Napsa Stars will understand that it's at this point of the season where you begin to separate the men from the boys, because the aggregates now begin to show. And in 2 weeks' time, they have to start playing the corresponding fixtures. Napsa Stars, last weekend, they played Konkola Blades, and there was nothing to separate the two, no go in that. But before that, when they beat Kwazi, I think the celebration during that game, you could show how much, you could see how much the important the win was for the pensioners. I think they've really struggled this season. Last season, they were matching Power Dynamos punch for punch together with Forest Rangers. Along the way, I think they slumped in form towards the end of the season, and they ended up not being in the top 2. This season, they have to fight. They find themselves not too far off the table. I think the margins also are very impressive on the standings, considering that Napsa Stars hasn't been doing so well, but they're still mid-tablers. They are only about, they're still far from the top, but at least they have a cushion of having 4 points more than the relegation zone. And I think they only want to get something out of this fixture. When you're playing defending champions, I think there's an extra incentive for you. You want to beat the best for you to be the best. So I think for this one, Napsa Stars could end up shocking Power Dynamos in Kitwe.
Talking of massive celebrations when the team has won or scored a goal, There's also the opposite reaction. Did you watch Real Madrid and Alaves?
Alaves.
Did you see the reaction from their coach after they conceded? They go, my goodness, when they say football will kill you, real death. That is a perfect example.
Wow, football can really kill you a real death. I think I remember also Pep Guardiola. Was it when there was a game? Was it the same one against Crystal Palace? The one that they conceded a penalty in the last.
That
minutes?
was mild
That
from
was
Pep.
mild,
You
yes.
should see
Yeah.
that video. My goodness. The man was annoyed.
If the people that considered that goal were within reach, you could have slapped them.
I tell you. Zesco United are in action against Mufulira Wanderers, who are going into this game having lost their previous encounter. And I'm sure Zesco will be rubbing their hands with glee. They are meeting Mighty at a time when they're not so mighty.
Not really. Might have always been good this season. I think I might have relied more.
I mean, based on
home.
their last game.
Maybe based on
They
their
say
last
you're as
game.
good as your last game.
Yeah, surely so. And
Or you're as bad as your last game.
Yeah,
Both.
either way, it still applies the same. And Mighty Mufulira Wanderers lost for the very first time at home this last weekend when they were beaten by Power Dynamos, like was said, 3-1. But at least Zesco United, a whole different kind of team this season, and they've really been impressive, and they've really been doing their best. And I think they knew the levels that were raised by Power Dynamos last season, so they knew at what level they had to play for them to really be able to challenge for the title. And so far, they are doing a pretty good job. Even when they have a game less than Red Arrows, they are still topping the table and have already qualified for the Absa Cup. With the likes of the experienced Tosta and Sabata in the ranks, Shemi Mayembe, Abraham Siankombo, and Enoch Sakala. One good thing about this Zesco United side is that they've got so much in terms of strength in depth. The likes of Lazarus Kambole can even afford to be put on the bench, like it was last weekend when they beat Trident. The likes of Lindom Konta was on the bench, Solomon Sakala, John Chingandu, who came from the bench to score the goal that gave Zesco United the lead. And so for me, Zesco United are a side that are looking very, very good, even the likes of Kevin Mbanga Kampamba. But one undoing thing that I saw of Zesco United last week was the number of chances that they create against the number of chances that they convert. I think their conversion rate is very, very low because they create so many chances. The likes of Enoch Sakala, and I think most of the chances that came to him, he scored just one goal, but I think he could easily have scored 3 or even 4 goals from the chances that were created by the midfielders for him, and he was just not so good enough in terms of converting the chances that were created for him. So going forward for Zesco United, I think any other day, maybe they may be not so lucky and continue with that kind of conversion rate. They'll find another team that will easily score against them and they may not win the game. So all in all, Zesco United, for me, they look very, very strong. And I think Mighty Mufulira Wanderers, a very, very bad fixture for them to go immediately after having had lost that game against Power Dynamos. Though actually, if they had a choice, they would have chosen another opponent, not Zesco United. A tough fixture for Mighty Mufulira Wanderers, and no other team that you can see apart from Zesco United winning this one.
What is the past tense of chose?
Of chose. Chose is already in the past.
Not chosed. They chose.
They chose the wrong fixture.
Kansanshi Dynamos have chosen a fixture against Forest Rangers to want to amass 3 points, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think they've chosen
They've chose
the better they've chose the better fixture for them because currently Forest Rangers are out of sorts. But usually, like the conversation you try to bring, you're as good as your last game or you're as bad as your last game. Forest Rangers, the last game they beat Green Buffaloes 2-0. Kansanshi Dynamos, the last game, I think they must have lost. But when you come to a fixture where both teams are starting, having lost the previous one, I think it always happens that everyone wants to right the wrongs of their immediate previous match. Kansashi Dynamos lost to FC Muza, while Forest Rangers was beating Green Buffaloes. So in this case, Forest Rangers are the ones who are starting as the favorites. Also, because Kansashi Dynamos hasn't really done so well this season. They've gone 3 matches without winning. They lost to Mtondo. They drew against Kana. To their credit, they beat Red Arrows 3 fixtures ago. That was after having lost to Zanaco. And I think today when they meet Forest Rangers, they would want to take advantage of home ground and just get a win that will push them up the table. I think they haven't done so badly. They are a team that love to win matches at home, but they haven't been, the consistency is what they've been lacking. They lie just above the relegation. They're actually the closing team on the relegation zone. They're 6 points better than bottom Trident. And the margins are so slim that if they win today, they'll find themselves as far above as 11th, as 12th position on the table. I think that Forest Rangers, looking at what they did last season, they were matching Power Dynamos punch for punch. They were actually at some point looking like favorites to win the league. They're looking like favorites to win the ABSA Cup, although things did not work for them, including at the beginning of the season when they won the Charity Shield against Power Dynamos. They were doing so well. Now that the games are coming thick and fast, you expect that Forest Rangers will want to win the game against Kansanshi. On the table, this looks like a fixture that is very winnable for Forest Rangers, and I would think that Forest Rangers will nick it 1-0.
And that fixture is on Sunday, the 24th, which is Christmas Eve. Another fixture on a Sunday, Cabo Warriors hosting FC Muza.
Well, this one is expected to be an interesting fixture. Remember, this fixture last season was an interesting one. Cabo Warriors had taken a lead against Muza, but Muza rallied back in the dying embers of that game to score 2 goals to consign Cabo Warriors to a defeat. And that was a time that Cabo Warriors was not really doing very well, and they were in a whole different kind of form. But this time around, Cabo Warriors have not been performing very well in the recent past. They were table toppers not long ago, but after having gone a stretch of 6 games without winning, just collecting 1 point out of a possible 18 has really taken them to slump to about 8th or 9th position, where they have 25 points, and FC Muza have 26 points. So these 2 sides are actually, there's so much at stake. The side that is going to win this game are going to get to get a place in the top 6 and are qualifying for the ABSA Cup. But Cabo Warriors are with the confidence and the expected high morale after having collected maximum points after such a long time last weekend when they beat Nkana, as well as Muza also collecting maximum points when they beat Kansanshi Dynamos. It was an identical scoreline. It was 1-0 in Kitwe and 1-0 in Mazabuka, and Cabo Warriors in defense with international Kilian Kanguluma sitting there as a central defender. Scott Ngokene, hopefully that he has recovered. He picked up an injury and was not part of the team last weekend. Then there's Kuku boy. Probably you could know him. Morgan.
Kuku is in Chawama constituency, so just call him Chawama boy.
Okay, let's call him Chawama boy. Morgan Haliampanga, a very good central defender, partnering Kilian Kanguluma. So Cabo Warriors have got an abundance of good players also as well. They've got Chifundo Mpasi, the Malawian international, who's been very, very good. Ocean Mushure also, one of the veterans in the side, who's been very good for Cabo Warriors, scoring crucial goals. He was the player that has scored last weekend. Cabo Warriors can even afford to have the likes of Tinkler Sinkala on the bench, the likes of Jimmy Belekindlovu to be sitting on the bench. They have got such an array of talent. Prince, captain of the side, Prince Mumba, who was very, very disappointing against the Mutondo Stars, and he actually put the whole blame on himself for having let the team down when he missed that penalty that could have given Cabo Warriors the lead when the scoreline.
He's been watching Onana.
Shouldering the blame.
Maybe he could have been watching Onana, but I think the reaction in the subsequent game was very, very impressive for Cabo Warriors and for Prince Mumba alike. So all in all, I think for me, Cabo Warriors seem to have a very good list of players that can rise to the occasion. But you can never discount Musa. I even saw. Is that the same roster? The one that I saw is looking much neater. Have they acquired the new roster?
They just washed it.
But I know it's I think it's a new one.
I'm sure
The one
they've
that
acquired the
I
new
think they have acquired the new one. The likes of Andrew Piri in their side, and there's been a little bit of some unrest with young Ngambi, Ricky Ngambi. He's not been having game time, and there's been some suggestion that he may want to move in January just to go and get game time somewhere else. Hopefully that things are going to be resolved. He's a very, very good player. We saw last time I watched him was when he scored against Red Arrows. But all in all, this is expected to be an interesting affair. It can go either way, more so with what is at stake in terms of qualifying for the ABSA Cup. As we may be aware, Musa tasted the sweetness of ABSA Cup despite not lifting the trophy. They may want to go one better by qualifying first and maybe probably go and lift the ABSA Cup. But it's expected by a tricky encounter. I think a scoring draw will do in this one.
I see that Mambo has been watching a lot of CNN of late.
Why?
Ghana. It's Ghana.
He has even changed his accent.
He has changed his accent. This is Football Time on 5FM under Muchinga Radio in Chinsali. Those are your fixtures in the Zambian Super League that enters week 17 this Saturday and Sunday. And we had one game yesterday, just in case you missed the result. Red Arrows 3, Mutondo Stars 1. We have 5 minutes before we say goodbye, gentlemen. Your pick of the pile from fixtures in other major leagues around the world. I'll start with you, Xavier.
I think the most interesting fixture today is Liverpool versus Arsenal. But
this entire weekend.
Exactly. I think for the Zambian connection also, the game between Lecce and Inter will be interesting. We all want to see our boy Lamek Banda be given game time in these big matches. And last time they played against Juventus, he accounted himself very well. And you always want our best players, like we said at the beginning, that we're going into the Africa Cup, and Lamek is one of our trump cards. We want to watch him against the best because these are the same best teams that also supply players to the other national teams that will be competing against at the Africa Cup. So away from the fanaticism of wanting to see the result between Liverpool and Arsenal, we have the Zambian connection of wanting to see what Patson Daka is going to do against Rotterdam, wanting to see what Lamek Banda would do in the Lecce against Inter Milan game. Across the board, we always want to follow what Zambian players are doing abroad, especially. There are very few that are getting game time, and we also have the issue of Triple C, who's unavailable, who's suspended. But the biggest fixture of the weekend, we can't avoid it, Liverpool against Arsenal. I think Liverpool tested playing against the traditional rivals Manchester United, and for all that is worth, I think that was a drab encounter. You don't expect a similar thing to happen today because of what is at stake.
I hear one team didn't go to play football. They just went there with a very big Marco Polo bus, deflated the tires, threw away the keys, and told the driver to go and come back after 90 minutes.
I remember one fixture.
They packed the bus.
One fixture in the past where I think it was West Ham who must have beaten Arsenal, and in the post-match interview, Arsene Wenger, as Arsenal coach, just said, "We played a team that refused to play football. All they came to do was to defend. We're the only ones who were playing football. The other team was only defending." But I think looking at where Manchester United find themselves and playing a fixture away at Anfield, you don't expect them to go with the injuries as well. Yeah. They can't go toe-to-toe. But that's what I was saying this afternoon or this evening, Liverpool against Arsenal. Liverpool should expect a totally different opponent, looking at what is at stake also. wanting to be on top of the power on Christmas Day, and the gods always
Villa
smile.
drawing last night.
Yes, and the gods always smile on the team that is top of the pile on Christmas Day. So that is an extra accolade that
That
the
goal,
two teams will be
those
looking.
goals didn't smile on Arsenal last season, because it was Arsenal who were top on Christmas Day last season.
Yes, traditionally.
No wonder they are just football gods.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
definitely. Yeah, but Anfield is a daunting place to go. Definitely, any player, any team, any supporter, when their team is going to play an Anfield, they always feel this is not a fixture that we would have loved. Look, Arsenal last season were almost getting the maximum 3 points, having led 2-0. They had to rely on Aaron Ramsdale to make those serious saves to make sure that Arsenal ultimately collected the points after Liverpool had to rally from behind to draw that game 2-0. But all in all, Anfield is really, really a daunting place to go, though it has been silenced a little bit more so in the game between Manchester United and Liverpool. There wasn't so much of that Anfield feel. And Klopp has actually even suggested that those fans that have got tickets and are not ready to support to the maximum of what is expected of them, they should give their tickets to other people to come and watch and support the team. Because the atmosphere was not the Anfield atmosphere as it's usually expected when they played against
what someone
Manchester
said?
United, who really subdued them and really confined them to mere scraps in terms of shooting at goal.
I saw a comment that made me laugh. He said Liverpool is supported by old people, and most of them are too old now that they cannot be. You don't expect them to make noise the way they used to when they were young as fans in the stands. They just go there to enjoy the game.
You know, I guess there's a colleague of mine, when he sees a young person like, vala jezi ya Liverpool, support Liverpool at your age. Ulina nyumba. Liverpool is a team of landlords.
We only hope the outcome of the game won't have too much talking points like it has been in recent games. Too many talking points away from the football pitch. Things to do with the ref, VAR.
Oh, yeah. Manchester United playing West Ham United in lunchtime kickoff today. Manchester City not in action because of the Club World Cup, where they were crowned the champions yesterday after beating Fluminense of Brazil 5-1, or is it 4?
4-0.
4-0. Yeah, then Chelsea are playing tomorrow. The only game tomorrow, Chelsea against Wolves.
Yeah, Tottenham against Everton.
Oh,
today. Love Everton, the way Everton have been playing after having been docked that 10 points. They are still putting up excellent performances and excellent results. And Fluminense against Man City yesterday. Fluminense almost played all the football, but the most important statistic was Manchester City 4 and Fluminense knew. It was good to see Marcelo anyway.
Anyway, we need to leave it here, gentlemen. Would like to thank you so much. And one more time, we are not here next Saturday for one simple reason. It is the festive season.
Christmas.
These gentlemen want to take their families out.
Thank you very much to our dear listeners. We hope you also enjoy Christmas next Saturday when we're not here.
Oh, yeah. This has been Football Time. We'll see you next year. Thank you.